Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. After seeing China become a global manufacturing center, Modi's team also started to feel itchy. They always like to compare with China in everything, so they will naturally not let go of the opportunity of Chinese technology being suppressed and try to recreate the Chinese-style miracle. Comprehensively promote the development of local manufacturing. As early as 2014, Modi's team launched the Made in India plan. In view of the unlimited potential of the Indian market, a large number of international companies chose to settle in. However, the Indian market showed no sincerity and frequently issued huge fines. It is a good explanation of what India makes money and spends money in India, and one wants to take it home. This has left many international companies with lingering fears, and they dare not completely transfer their supply chains. Although many local factories have been built in India, they are basically assembly plants and have not truly realized local manufacturing. Subsequently, the Modi team tried to the problem was solved through taxation, but it caused a larger chain reaction. After Xiaomi's assets of $4.8 billion were frozen and BYD's investment of $1 billion was rejected, the Indian market was gradually blacklisted by Chinese companies. In this state, Apple chose to betray and constantly urged suppliers to increase their production capacity. Moving to India, many companies compromised in the face of the temptation of Apple's orders. But the Indian market is not that simple. After several tortures, the Chinese-funded enterprise Wistron officially announced that it had given up its market layout. Not long ago, it officially announced that it would be acquired by the Tata Group. Apple has currently transferred a large amount of production capacity and warehoused is Grammar going to help Modi realize his Made in India plan. India started grabbing orders. Foxconn has become the world's largest OEM, relying on Apple orders. After Cook proposed a plan to transfer production capacity, Terigo was the first to go to India to build a factory. He originally thought that he could rely on India's abundant labor force and low labor costs to achieve further compression of foundry costs, thereby achieving greater profits, but all this soon became a wishful thinking. Not only is the business climate in India poor, but the enthusiasm of workers is very different from that in China, and the supply chain is extremely imperfect, which requires a lot of time and energy to build. As the saying goes, if Cook opens his mouth, supply chain manufacturers will have to. This is how breaking a leg comes about. Giving up China's mature supply chain and building a factory in India is a thankless thing in itself. At the beginning, Wistron, like Foxconn, was full of confidence in the Indian market. In 2019, it officially announced that it would invest $1 billion to expand production in the next 5 years. However, everything changed in 2020, and it has experienced various changes. After this unexpected incident, it directly caused losses of more than $60 million, which also resulted in the temporary inability to complete orders delivered by Apple. It directly became the last straw to overwhelm Wistron. Without sufficient Apple orders, it was naturally meaningless to continue to stay in the Indian market. It had no choice but to sell the factory, and the Tata Group became the winner. Not only obtained high-quality production capacity at a low price, but also took advantage of the trend to receive orders from Apple. All this went too smoothly, and was once considered by the outside world to be a trap. At first, India used various subsidies to attract foreign-funded companies to settle in, and then intervened in the actual operations of these companies, and introduced the policy of Indian executives should be in India. These measures are equivalent to companies investing in India losing their right to operate independently. Naturally, no company is willing to continue their layout. The Modi team has gone in such a big circle, and the ultimate goal is naturally to win more iPhone assembly factories, so that local companies can win more Apple orders, and achieve the goal of enhancing Indian manufacturing. And this time the Tata Group's acquisition of Wistron seems a bit coercive. The Tata Group has wanted to enter the Apple supply chain for a long time, but there are technical flaws, and such a plan has never been realized. Foxconn and Wistron's plans to build factories in India have once again ignited their hopes, and after the successful acquisition after Wistron's factory, Apple orders also arrived. Such a plan has obviously been realized. Does it mean that India's plan to seize orders from Chinese companies has been successful? Is Make in India going to win? On the surface, India has indeed won this time, but to secure Apple orders is not that easy given the current strength of local Indian companies. Although Apple's iPhone 15 already has Made in India, the response in the market was not good and few people bought the Indian version. Although Cook has decided to simultaneously produce iPhone 16 in India, and may even put the research and development of iPhone 17 in Indian factories, this is obviously difficult to change the embarrassment of India's manufacturing industry. According to statistics, the yield rate of parts produced in India is less than 50%. And the remaining 50% is also unsatisfactory. This is a problem of cooperation between technology and workers. It is difficult to change in the short term unless the wages of workers can be improved. However, this violates the original intention of transferring production capacity. Although it means to disperse production capacity, it is more for the sake of saving cost, because this is not a temporary idea by Cook to put pressure on Biden's team, but has been planned long ago. Today's India is quite contradictory. It wants foreign companies to enter, but also wants to support the development of local companies. It is naturally impossible to use the American method to recreate the Chinese-style miracle. What do you think of this? What about